Can you check whether it is coming, please?
It is coming.
Okay, that's good.
Brilliant.
Yeah. No, if it is installed already in the phone, it should come. Yeah.
I listened to last week.
Okay, yeah.
So very good. I'll tell Mohan to play them.
Yeah, yeah.
Uncle, yeah, it's working. It's live now. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Uncle. Thanks, Uncle. Thanks.
Were you able to reach?
Liverpool. Yeah. I went to Liverpool.
No, this person.
No, he hasn't called me.
Oh, yes, no. Maybe I'll check.
Yeah, he hasn't called me. It's coming.
Oh, very good. Just dropped her. I was not sure whether to make it.
Oh, no.
Sorry, that's why I couldn't call you also.
That's okay, not to worry. I knew that she's coming and
Yeah.
they're going to team.
I just
I didn't
dropped
know
her
that
off.
she's home or not.
So, how do you feel? I know that Shankar is not feeling well. So, Shankar just fallen here a while ago saying, cut it down.
There's a car out there with the doors open. Did you come by car?
Yeah.
What's your number?
LB
Okay,
16.
then it's not yours.
So,
YD07
okay,
car.
I don't know. Sorry, is it blocking somebody or?
No, it's parked in the nursery,
Okay.
but the car doors are open.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
What is the car number?
YD07, Veteran X something.
Yeah, nobody there. I asked them, they said no.
Nobody? Well, then probably not
But
us.
there's a young kids coming out now.
Cultural center? No. Better than the movies.
Just asking.
It's okay. Maybe it's been there for a while then. If it's milling.
When we entered the car park, there was no car there.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So must have been
Must
after.
have been after you came.
Sometimes the teacher might pop in. I saw yesterday as well, some teacher parked in the inside.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
வழக்கு கொஞ்சம் சின்னதாக நமக்கு தெரியும்.
So you don't need this HDMI.
This is not needed because this one anyway I need mine
Okay.
has this connection.
Yeah.
So you can just connect this to your HDMI there. And then see that it works.
Looks like it's pulling.
We're looking. Oh, yeah.
No, it's okay, it's okay. Yeah, that should be okay. That's right, we will
Just
do
turn it right on.
some jugaad, yeah, we'll do.
Thank you, brother.
Okay. Shall we start maybe with the bhajans and then
Yeah.
we'll get started as people come along. We can. Fine. Who's the guy? Think I got it. Think I got it. Leo. We'll get. I thought I got it.
More?
नहीं नहीं Shall we start? So we do the opening prayers and then we will start.
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा पूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकि कोकिलं मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि. Before we start, some of you had asked earlier for any resources or books which have more details on Ramayana. I forgot to show this last time. I've put 3 of them here. I can send the slide to you if you want to share it.
Please, yeah.
The first one is from an author called Kamala Subramaniam. So that has the whole Ramayana. She has written Ramayana, Mahabharata and Srimad Bhagavatam. No, it does not have the verses. It just has the language and pretty simple English. So I think, for example, I probably still have this here. So this is her Kindle, for example, the Kindle edition of Kamala Subramaniam, and you can see the kind of language, right? It's sorrow turned to anger, but very, very easy to read in relatively easy language. So that is on Kindle, but also the book is available. The one in the middle.
In Kindle.
I'm sorry?
I saw that in Kindle. I wasn't too sure whether it's the right one.
Well, there is no, it's not the right one. It is one of the ones that is.
Valmiki one.
Correct. It is on Valmiki Ramayana, and she has written it, pretty much she has followed the flow of the verses, except that there is no verse, etc. given there.
Oh.
The second one is Bala Ramayana. We use it at Chinmaya Mission during when we teach children Bal Vihar, and we are doing Ramayana. We use that text. So that is much more a compressed version, child friendly, easier to understand. The language is also accordingly more appropriate. It's like if this Ramayana by Kamala Subramaniam is probably 900 pages or something, this is about 150 pages, so much easier in that sense. And this third book is also from Bhavan's Bharati Vidya Bhavan, Sri Rajagopalachari, much older books, a lot of people would have read that. So these are 3. I also put down the link at the bottom. I don't know if I've got this open here now, but this one is something, this has got each verse by verse with meaning and slight brief commentary, at least the meaning of the verses. So depending on what level people, if somebody wants to actually go and see a particular verse, this link is very handy. So sometimes when we are preparing for class, at least we find it helpful. But I just wanted to put it out there in case anybody wants to read on their own or try and follow, because obviously we are not doing verse by verse here, but I thought I'll just share it for the
Can you put it on the WhatsApp group as well?
Yes, I think I'll send it to Krishna. He will put it. He will send this.
Yeah, Rajagopalan's Mahabharata is brilliant.
Correct. So
That's
it's the
really
same.
nice.
Correct. So they've also put it out there. But I just put it here because, as I said, people have been interested. I'll send it to Krishna because he is managing the temple WhatsApp group. So he can post it there. And then those who want to buy the second book, I've got some copies with me. The first and the third, I think they're probably outside from somewhere, or you'll have to pick them on Kindle if they are available. So just wanted to let you know. Okay, we'll do a quick bhajan and then we will get started. I don't think we will need the slides much, so we can close the. Will it automatically shut down?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Let's do a small bhajan and then we'll get started. राम नाम तारकं सदा भजो रे, 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 सदा भजो रे, सदा जपो रे, सदा भजो रे, सदा जपो रे, सदा भजो जपो रे, सदा भजो रे, सदा जपो रे, राम नाम तारकं सदा भजो रे, राम नाम तारकं सदा भजो रे, जानकी मनोहरं सदा भजो रे, जानकी मनोहरं सदा भजो रे, मारुति संसेवितं सदा जपो रे, मारुति संसेवितं सदा जपो रे, राम नाम तारकं सदा भजो 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 रे, राम राम नामतारकं सदा भजो रे सदा भजो रे सदा जपो रे सदा भजो रे सदा जपो रे राम नाम तारकं सदा भजो रे राम नाम तारकं सदा भजो रे सदा जपो रे सदा जपो रे सदा भजो रे सदा भजो रे सदा जपो रे सदा जपो रे. Okay, so let's continue from where we left. So last class we started Ayodhya Kandam, the second section of Valmiki Ramayana, and in there we were discussing how 24 Rama was approximately 24 years, so after the wedding 12 years had almost passed and time had flown by, and in all of that time Valmiki does not spend a lot of time post the marriage and everybody is living happily. We get straight to Ayodhya Kandam, and that Kandam starts with Bharata and Shatrugna leaving for their maternal uncle's house at KKR. And we saw how Dasharatha was reminded of his old age, and he decided that he could see some moments, and he decided that it's maybe time for me to retire and appoint Rama as the crown prince. And we also saw how in the way he went about this whole thing, he did not kind of just say, okay, I'm the king, it's my right, I can decide what I want to do. He actually went and first sought the permission, he sought the opinion of the people. Classic, like we said, in these days democracy, he actually asked the people, what do you think? And the subjects were also very delighted, and they wholeheartedly gave the approval. Now in Kalidasa's Raghuvamsham, where his adaptation or his rendition of Ramayana, Kalidasa as a poet is a brilliant Sanskrit poet, and he uses brilliant analogies. So one of the analogies Kalidasa uses is, he says, to show how Dasharatha was growing old, he says Dasharatha was combing his hair in the mirror when he spots a grey hair near his temple or near his ear, and that's what reminds him. And he says almost like the grey hair was telling Dasharatha, O king, it's now time, we are nearing the end of your phase, and it's therefore time for you to start. So that same example of the king growing old, different poets have kind of described it in different ways. We also learnt about Shatrugna, and also he does not get a lot of mention generally in the Mahabharata, in the Ramayana. One of the reasons why Shatrugna is called Shatrugna is not just he conquered the enemies of Kama, Krodha, but he was also able to conquer his own ego and his own love for Rama, to say, I don't want to be a devotee of the Lord. I want to be a devotee of the Lord, or a servant of the Lord. So he is happy being a servant of the Lord, that is of Bharata. And we went through that, and we then saw how Manthara, the maid of Kaikeyi, who had come with her since marriage, hears about this news, and how in that span of 45 minutes to an hour, Kaikeyi's position entirely transforms from, to me, Rama and Bharata are no different, or Rama is is even more dear to me than Bharata, to completely turning the other way around and saying that now I have to find a way to not let Kaushalya become the queen mother. I should find a way in which my son Bharata will become the king, and being completely influenced. And we saw the power of company as we were looking at that whole section, and the kind of company you keep. And anyway, wherever she went, through all the points that Manthara had promised her, Kaikeyi enters the Krodha Graha. That's where we stopped. So there are two scenes happening here. On one scene is Manthara Kaikeyi discussion, and Kaikeyi going towards the Krodha Graha, or the room where it's almost the sulking room, for want of a better word, that she wants to go. And on the other hand, Dasharatha at the palace making all the arrangements. Water has come from all the holy rivers for the consecration next morning. They have arranged all the flowers, all the items for the puja. This is not a small affair. This is a big thing. This king, having ruled Ayodhya so well for thousands of years, is now ready to invite him. So the two very contrasting scenes. That's where we are coming. Any questions or comments from based on what we discussed last before we go ahead. We also did a quick recap of learnings from Balakanda, so thank you for some of the children who gave ideas and what they learned from it. So before we go ahead, any questions? All good? Yes, Steve?
What was the name of the person who convinced the queen to try and make the king?
So the lady who, the hunchback, her name was Manthara, Manthara, not Mantra, Manthara. Okay, so she was the one. So Kaikeyi has entered the Krodhagraha. Dasharatha is blissfully unaware. He is out there making all these arrangements, and Manthara has given her very detailed instructions, not just how to enter and sulk, but she told her how exactly should you be present in the Krodhagraha, what the setting of the room should be, when you should speak. Almost scene by scene, she has given her the whole script as to how she should act. And towards the end, Kaikeyi actually tells Manthara that you are my most beloved well-wisher. Nobody wishes me as well in this life, in this world, as you do. And of all the hunchbacks in the world, you are the most beautiful hunchback. So Kaikeyi is not all sure what all praises to hurl on her. She says, yes, you may be a hunchback, but of all the hunchbacks, I will give you like Miss Hunchback. If there was a Miss World or a Miss Universe, like that, you are Miss Hunchback for me. So with all that praises, Manthara is happy. She has done her work. Kaikeyi has gone and she is lying around in the Krodhagraha. Now the king, Dasharatha, obviously it's been a long day for him because all this thing has practically been decided in the span of less than 24 hours. He has informed Rama, Rama has informed Kaushalya, Vasishta has gone to tell Rama, now you need to practice some austerity tonight, you need to do puja to Sri Ranganatha, and they are doing that puja. And after making all those arrangements, the king looks at everything and he feels, now I think everything has been, I feel good. It's like the next day wedding, you feel, it's never like a big project plan, lots of different milestones. I feel now most of the things are in there. Vasishta knows what he has to do. Sumantra has invited the guests, all the people have come, they are all staying in their places. The people of Ayodhya know about it. And he says, I think I'll just take a bit of rest now before the big morning. He enters and he goes to the palace of Kaikeyi. Now, in those days, each queen had their own palace. So it's like, the king can decide, now like how we have got Buckingham Palace, Windsor Palace, like the different palace or castles. Each queen had their own separate quarters, so to say. So he goes, he wants to first share the news with Kaikeyi. He's so happy. And usually Kaikeyi will, and he, of all the queens, he had a special affection for Kaikeyi. She was the most beautiful, she was the youngest in that sense. So he had a level of almost infatuation and attraction towards Kaikeyi. Of all the queens, he loved his queens, but Kaikeyi had a special. So he wanted to first go and share this news with her. He said, of course Kaikeyi will be so happy on hearing this. When he goes, normally Kaikeyi will be waiting for him at the entrance of the quarters itself, saying the king will come and he will hug and go in. But today he sees Kaikeyi is not waiting there. So he's already a little bit disturbed that, how come Kaikeyi is not here? I'm here eager to come and share such a good news. Every day she'll be there and today I don't see her in there. So he's already going inside and saying, Kaikeyi is calling. And, those days no mobile phone to call and check, where you are, nothing of that sort. So the bridesmaids, all the assistants of Kaikeyi, they come and say, O king, Kaikeyi has gone to the Krodhagraha. She was upset about something. But she has gone there. The king is even more, in a state of turmoil. He's like, I've got this good news to share. I'm already tired after a long day. Kaikeyi is not here. And now I hear she's actually in the Krodhagraha. He says, okay, wonder what happened. And he enters there. Now that scene, when he enters, they say Kaikeyi is lying on the ground. She has, she just put one knot in her hair. Her hair is strewn. She is not like, lying, sitting there in a corner. No, she's like lying with her hands spread. She has put her flowers strewn around, almost like she's, ripped them apart. Her jewelry is scattered, and Valmiki describes it's almost like the stars in the sky where there is no moon. They're scattered all around, no pattern. He then says she looked like an apsara who has slipped from heaven and has fallen down, like a deer who's kind of caught in the light. So she's like looking like a picture. She's not just angry, but it looks like she is devastated. And the king, old king, looking at her, he is speechless. He does not know what happens. He enters there, and his first reaction is one of, God, what happened to Kaikeyi? So he goes to her. He is, he sits next to her and he says, "Oh dear Kaikeyi," and he is, like how we would kind of, maybe if a child of ours is not feeling well, we would just kind of pat their head and caresses her head, and he says, "Oh Kaikeyi, what's wrong?" And initially starts to tell about how much power he has got. He says, "You know the command of this king. I've got control over such a large one. Has anybody said anything has anybody insulted you? Has anybody made you angry for anything? You just tell me the name of the person, I will punish him, Kaikeyi. Are you not well? I've got all the doctors and all the different treatments that you can possibly ask for. I have them here. Is there something you want? We'll make that arrangement." He then says, "Kaikeyi, forget all that. Is there somebody who has not committed any mistake? An innocent person. Do you want me to go and hang him? Convict him of a crime? Tell me, I've got that power. I will do that for you, Kaikeyi. So much I love you. Even if that person has not committed a mistake, I can go and convict him. I will do that for you. Or, if somebody has committed a heinous crime and is in the jail, and you want me to release him and say, okay, we forgive you, I will even do that." He's completely forgotten what his duty as a king is. Because Kaikeyi is not saying anything. She's just lying down. And the king is so infatuated, he does not know how to appease her. He's writing check after check for her. Say, "Kaikeyi, do you want this? Do you want that?" What is the matter? And he says, I promise on all the punya, all the good deeds I have done, I make a promise on that, Kaikeyi, that whatever you want I will do. Why are you so upset and lying down? You can just come and ask me, I'll give you. What is the matter? For the first time, when he says that I make a promise on all the good deeds I have done for you, Kaikeyi slowly gets up. And she looks at him and she says, "Listen, nobody has hurt me. I am not unwell. I am not, I don't need anybody to be punished or anybody to be brought back from jail. There is something I want from you, but I am not sure you will give me." Dasharatha, "Okay. If you make a promise that you will stand by your word and you will give me what I ask for, then and only then I will tell you." It's like, "I've said already all this, and you didn't have to do all this preamble, I would have anyway given you." And he says, "Kaikeyi, if there is one person in this whole world who is dearer to me than you, that is Rama. And in the name of that Rama, Tena Ramena Kaikeyi Shapete Vachana Kriyam. I promise in the name of that Rama, who is dearer to me than the one who is dearest in general to me, that of all the queens, which is you, who is dearer to me than my own life, in the name of that Rama, Tena Ramena Kaikeyi, in his name, I promise I will do whatever you ask for." What more can I promise? That promise is more powerful than my own life. What more do you want? As soon as she heard this, Kaikeyi is now alert and she gets up. And Valmiki describes this as almost like a cobra or how a snake usually will raise its hood when it's completely lying down. He describes that movement of Kaikeyi from lying down to sitting like the cobra is now ready to strike. And before she asks, Kaikeyi does like a whole preamble. He says, "Oh Agni, oh Indra, oh all deities, you are witness to what this king has just said. He has promised he will grant my boon. Okay? Oh sun, moon, stars, you are all witness that this king has just promised in the name of his beloved son Rama that he is going to give me what I ask for." Dasharatha is wondering, he's still kind of thinking, why all this, almost like, I'm going to get your signature, put your thumbprint, I'm going to record this. It's in those ways the equivalent of that I'm making sure that it is all, you've given it to me in writing. And then she says, "Do you remember, O king, that many years ago when you were fighting on the side of the Devas, then at one stage you were injured and I was your charioteer in that war and I had saved your life, and in return for that you were so pleased with me that you granted me 2 boons. He says, "Yeah, I do remember, it was a long time ago, but at that time I did not need anything, but now I remember I want to get those 2 boons today. So, O king, I ask today that give me those 2 boons. Right? He says, of course, tell me what you want. She says, I understand that you are making arrangements for Rama to be consecrated as the crown prince. He says, let all those arrangements continue. My first boon is instead of Rama, substitute it with Bharata. I want my son Bharata to be called and be crowned as the crown prince. Before Dasharatha could even process and react to that, she says, may Rama be bound to the Dandaka Vanam, the forest. And the way she says is, she doesn't say 14, she says, Nava Panchacha Varshani Dandakaranya Mashritah. Nava Pancha, Nava and Pancha, 9 and 5. And the commentator says, why doesn't she say 9 and 5 is 14? He says, because if she would have said 14, he would have died there only before he gave the boon. So to soften the blow, she is splitting into saying 9 plus 5. Nava Panchacha Varshani Dandakaranya Mashritah. Chirajina Jatadhari Ramo Bhavatu Tapasaha. So I want Rama to go to the Dandaka Vanam for 9 and 5 years, wearing deer skin and sporting matted locks, living like a muni. So, like sharp as a knife, she did not wait any moment. She just called out her 2 boons and she said, oh, you are such a dharmic king, and everybody knows you adhere to your word. Your word is more important to you, and you're an upholder of dharma. May you uphold the repute of your character and of your lineage. Grant me these 2 boons. The moment Dasharatha heard this, he did not know what happened, and his first reaction was one of he was stupefied. He was completely engulfed in grief. He started saying things like, is this a dream? Is this an illusion? Has some memory from my past life come back to haunt me? Am I in my senses? Is this really happening? Sometimes we pinch ourselves to say, is this really happening? And he lost consciousness then and there. This is all whatever, maybe 7:38 in the evening or 9:30. He's gone to the room. He's already tired after a long day, and he hears this and he loses his consciousness. When he gets up, he's looking around just to see if hopefully, sometimes we sleep over things and things go away. But same situation, Kaikeyi is still in that room, he's in the Krodha Graha, she's not looking at him, she's looking the other side, and he realizes that this whole thing is not a dream, it is happening for real. And this sarga, this is the 12th sarga of Ayodhya Kandam. It has got 114 verses. It's apparently a sarga which captures this whole range of emotions Dasharatha goes through. So let's just see which were some of those emotions that he is going through. Right? So he actually starts off by saying, his first emotion is one of complete anger. He's like, what? I came here asking that I will satisfy anything you want, and the first thing you ask me is this, and you're asking me something. He says, you know what, of the 2 boons, Kaikeyi, you can keep the first boon. If you want Bharata to become king, that's fine. We can live with that. That's not a problem. But don't ask for the second boon, Kaikeyi. He says, what harm has Rama done to you, Kaikeyi? Right? He says, Nirishamse dushta charitre kulasyasya vinashini. You are here to destroy this entire kulam. You are here to destroy this entire Ikshvaku race. Kim kritam tava ramena papam pape mayapiva. What has Rama done to you? Why are you doing this to him? No response. She's sitting there like a rock, unfazed, not reacting to anything. He then starts to tell her about Rama's noble qualities that he has described so often, and she has herself said him. He says, Rama satyam, danam, tapas, tyago, mitrata, shaucham, arjavam, vidya cha guru shushrusha, dhruvan yetani raghave. This Rama has so many good qualities. He is truthful. He always gives without expecting anything. He is very disciplined, he is friendly, he is pure, uprightness, scholarship, service to the Gurus. All these qualities are firmly established in this Raghava, in Rama. That Rama you are asking to be removed? No response. From anger and trying to explain, he then expresses how helpless Dasharatha has become. He says, I can live without Kaushalya, I can live without Sumitra, but I cannot live without Rama. He says, the plants around can live without the sun, right? The crops might be able to live without water, but this life of mine, O Kaikeyi, cannot live without Rama. Tishte loke vina suryam. Without the suryam, the loko can stay. Sasyam va salilam vina, natu ramam vina dehe. This deha cannot live without Rama. Tishthetu mama jivitam. My life is dependent on Rama. Don't take Rama away from me. Now the whole scene has changed. Kaikeyi is the one who is standing, walking around. This king is now on the floor, right? This great king, a Raja Rishi, who has conquered so many great things, right now on the floor trying to plead to her. He is ready to fall at his feet. He now begs to her and he says, "Oh Kaikeyi, I am old, I am nearing my end. I am wailing. So please show mercy on me. Karunyam kartum arhasi." He says, "Mama vruddhasya Kaikeyi." I have become very old, Kaikeyi. Gatantasya tapasvinah. I am now nearing my end. Deenam lalapya manasya karunyam kartum arhasi. Show me some karunya, Kaikeyi. I am not, I forget I am your husband. Think of me as an old man at the very end, fag end of his life. Please show me some mercy at this end. He then says, maybe Kaikeyi, as of yesterday you have told me how much you love Rama. I am sure someone has poisoned your mind. He says, please be aware of the consequences of your action. This cannot be true. He says, Kaikeyi, do you know Rama's mother is Kaushalya, but I can assure you that Rama loves you and has served you more than Kaushalya. In fact, I would go to such an extent to say, even Bharata has not loved or served you as much as Rama has served you. Your own son Bharata, biological son, has not served you or loved you as much as Rama. How can you do this to Rama? He now remembers all, he's now caught in like a checkmate situation, and he says, "Oh Kaikeyi, think of Kaushalya. Kaushalya is the eldest queen. She has served me like an attendant, a friend, a wife, a sister, a mother when needed. But you know what, Kaikeyi, I could never treat her with respect or what she deserved because I feared that might displease you. Yada yada hi Kaushalya, dasi vacha sakhi vacha." She was like a dasi, like a servant she has served me, like a sakha, like a sakhi she has served me. Bharyavat bhagini vacha matrava chopatishtati. I could not even give her the respect or love because I feared that you would get displeased in comparison. And now I think that one incident, that one occasion for happiness that Kaushalya has now, that her son will become the king or become the crown prince. When that one thing that she is about to get, I am about to snatch that away. How can I do that, O Kaikeyi? He says, Kaikeyi, when I die, my ancestors will ask me, how could you do this adharma? Because Rama was deservingly, as the eldest son, to be the crown prince. How did you not allow that to happen? What am I going to answer them? What will you answer them, Kaikeyi? No response. He says, okay, forget Kaushalya. Think of Sita. We got Sita into this kingdom and we promised Videha Raja, we promised Janaka that we are going to take care of Sita not as a daughter-in-law but as a daughter. We are going to take care of this little girl, and now when she comes and asks me, why are you punishing my husband when he has not done any adharma? With what face can I answer her or her father? She is the daughter not only of me but this whole kingdom. She is your daughter. How do I explain this injustice to Sita? Right? He then says, Kaikeyi, you may think you know Bharata, but I know Bharata, my son, better than you. Bharata will in no way want to occupy this kingdom depriving Rama. So much is his love and respect for Rama. I think actually that Bharata, even more than Rama, is a stronger adherent of Dharma. If Rama, all these good qualities I have said, I think Bharata is even more a dharmic and a follower of Dharma. He says, "Na kathan chidrite Rama bharato rajyama vashir Rama dapi hitam manyem dharmato balavattaram." So Bharata's following of Dharma is even higher than Rama. I don't think you understand Bharata as well as I do. Kaikeyi has only one message for it. She says, please stop talking. These were the boons. You only said less than 15-20 minutes ago, you are going to grant me what I want. I don't want to know whether my boons or my requests are right or wrong, whether they are dharmic, adharmic, whether they will cause good or bad. I have made all those decisions. I only want you, O king, to grant me and fulfill your word. See that? And I will drink poison right in front of you and will die while you are watching if Rama is going to be consecrated. Aham hi visham adhyaiva pitva bahu tavagratah pashyataste marishyami ramo yadya vishichyate. So I will drink visham and I will kill myself if you continue on your path. Now by this stage, Dasharatha has tried everything. He has shown anger, he has begged at her feet, he has appealed to her good sense. The night is passing by, morning is going to come. He is now exasperated. He's almost like I've tried everything and he has no idea what hit him. And he says, for the first time in my life, O Kaikeyi, I wish I did not have a son like Rama. He says. Why is the king saying that? He says, if I had an ordinary son and I would have asked him a few hours after I told him I'm going to make you the crown prince, I would have told him, oh Rama, you have to go to the forest. That son of mine would have said, Papa, take a walk. I am not listening to you. You promised me. This is my rightful thing. You gave the promise. You figure it out with mother. I am not a party to all this. I am going to go become the king. And I wish I had a son who was disobedient. But unfortunately for me, my Rama will never say that. He will say, if it is your word, I will honor it. It is my duty to honor your words. You see? Yadi me Raghava kuryat vanam gaccheti choditah pratikulam priyam me syat natu vatsa karishyati. I would rather be happy if Raghava does not obey my word when I tell him to go to the vana, but my dear son would never do that. Right? And he says, Kaikeyi, you know what? You ask for 2 boons, I'll give you a 3rd boon bonus. I can tell you that when Rama leaves, if I do go ahead with your ask and Rama leaves, I will die. That is for sure. This life cannot remain without Rama. If I die, I do not want Bharata to perform my last rites. Right? Now his whole thing about Bharata has also changed. He says, when Rama goes to the forest and I leave this world, you rule this kingdom as a widow along with your son. Bharata is no longer my son, it's changed. Sedanim vidava rajyam saputra karayishyasi. You rule this Ayodhya with your son. So just a few minutes ago he was talking about how Bharata is dharmic, but you can see the mind when it is in anguish, how it changes. He has no reason. Bharata is not a party to any of this, but the king is in such a state, his own opinion of his son is changing and just goes to show. He then says, shame on you. In fact, he says, all women, the word very woman means nothing but someone who is untrustworthy and selfishness. And then he stops himself and says, no, that's not correct. I don't think this can be said of all women. It can only be said of Bharata's mother. Digastu yoshito nama shatha swartha parasada na bravimi striya sarva Bharatas yaiva matra. Only Bharata's mother is an embodiment of selfishness and untruth. He then is now criticizing himself. He says, you know what? I was so indulged in having fun with you and in my lust for you and in my infatuation for you. I did not realize you are like death incarnate, Kaikeyi. I have been like a child all this while touching a venomous snake while no one happens to watch over. And guess what? I held you on the lap for too long and now I'm being ruined by that very delusion. Right? So he says, he now starts to, he sees the clock is ticking, the stars are now it's about to be daylight. He says, he starts to pray to the night. He says, oh night, you are adorned with so many shining stars. Please do not give way to dawn. I pray to you, may this night not proceed any further. Please show mercy on me. Na prabhatam tvaye chami nishe nakshatra bhushane kriyatam me daya bhadre mayayam rachiton jalihi. He says, if this night becomes day, I will have to go and perform deeds that I cannot get my heart towards. But then he immediately changes. He says, but probably, maybe night you should accelerate. May dawn comes soon. because till the time it is night, I am stuck with this lady Kaikeyi. I have to see her in this room, and I cannot bear this torment, this anguish anymore. Right? He says, Athava gamyatam shigram naham ichchami nigrahinam nirshamsam kaikayim drashtum yatkrite vyasanam mahat. So, I don't want to see the face of this cruel and heartless Kaikeyi, because of whom this entire, this whole kulam is going to get destroyed. Right? And finally he pleads for mercy. He tells, "Oh queen, oh auspicious one," he starts praising her. "Be kind to this despondent who is at your mercy. This king is at the fag end of his life, and he has had a smooth and good life thus far. I am falling at your feet. Sadhu vrittasya deenasya tvad-gatasya gatayushah prasada kriyatam devi bhadre ragnyo visheshata." You are so auspicious, you are Bhadram. Please, I appeal to your good sense. When Kaikeyi hears all this, he says, the clock is ticking. She says, don't overreact. What are you doing? You're like a king. Such a small thing I have asked for, and you're lying on the floor based on the vows that only you have given. Come on, get up, have some dignity. She then proceeds to give him a lecture on dharma. Right? She says, people who know dharma, they say that the ultimate dharma is to keep one's word. I am now asking you to follow the same dharma, adhere to the truth. Ahu satyam hi paramam, dharmam dharma vido janaha, satyamashritya hi maya, tvam cha dharmam prabodhita. The satyam is so important, king. Follow the satyam. Kaikeyi is now giving Veda and sermons on truth to him. She then gives him some example. Do you know Shivi Chakravarti was a king in your lineage? And there is a tale that once the Devas wanted to, and Shivi Chakravarti was known to be a person of his word, and the Devas wanted to test how much he can actually uphold his word. So Indra and another Deva, they come, a hawk and a pigeon. So when Shivi Chakravarti is performing a puja, a havan, and this pigeon comes and tells Shivi Chakravarti, "Oh king, please save my life." Shivi says, "Okay, I will save your life, don't worry, what is the matter?" And then the hawk also comes, and the hawk says, "I want this pigeon." And Shivi says, "I have promised this pigeon, why don't you go and pick some other animal or bird and have your food, why are you going after this pigeon?" And this hawk says, "No, I am also a subject of your kingdom, this pigeon is also a subject of your kingdom. If you protect this pigeon, then you are effectively making me hungry and I will die of hunger. So as a king, you decide who you are going to support." So he says, "Okay, if that is the case, then you know what? I will give you the flesh from my body equivalent to the weight of this pigeon, so that the pigeon is safe, I keep my word, and you are also not going hungry." The hawk says, "That's a deal. I can live with that." So he puts the pigeon on a scale, weighing scale, and this king actually goes about taking cutting flesh from his body. So much was his commitment to his word. Surprisingly, even as he is keeping flesh after flesh after flesh from different parts of his body, the balance just does not seem to tilt. Right? Normally you would think maybe half a kilo or something it should, but it still feels like the pigeon is heavier. And finally he has to take out his own heart and keep it. At that stage the Devas come and say, "Shivi, you have now proven to us that you are a man of your word, that you will not hesitate to give your own life for your word." So she reminds him, "Do you know the story of Shivi Chakravarti? He was one of your ancestors. You are in that kula, O king. You should follow his role model. Otherwise you will be a blot on this entire lineage." She says, "There was another king called Alarka in your domain. A blind Brahmin once came to him and the king said, 'Tell me what you want.' And the king king said, and the Brahmin said, 'I don't have eyes. You had made a promise sometime. Give me your eyes.' The king did not hesitate to give his own eyes. He is a person in your kingdom, followed dharma. He gave his own eyes to that Brahmin. I am only asking for Rama, who is like your eye, like the apple of your eye. I am not asking you for anything big." She then again goes to tell him how important dharma and truth is. She says, "Satyam ekapadam brahma, satye dharma pratishtitah, satyam evakshaya veda, satye naiva param." She says, truth is a synonym for Brahman, that ultimate truth. In truthfulness alone is dharma established. Truth is the essence of the imperishable Vedas. The ultimate can only be attained by adhering to the truth. What this also tells us is in our spiritual studies, two things are emphasized. Not just the knowledge of the scriptures and the Vedas, but also purity of mind. So we said purity of mind and clarity of thought both have to go hand in hand. Otherwise, this is a great example of someone who's very well read in the scriptures using those same messages to kind of make a case for adharma, whereas because that intention was lost. So both have to come hand in hand. So by that, she's telling, now there is no need for you to sit and complain. You please go and do what you have to do. And the whole night is gone. It's almost morning. The king has now realizes that all options he has tried, he has appealed to her good sense, and she is not budging. Finally, he says, I am tied by the bonds of dharma. I have lost all my vigor. I now want to see my beloved eldest son Rama, the dharmika. Dharma bandhena baddhosmi nashta cha mama chetana jeshtham putram. My eldest son, priyam ramam drashtum ichchasi. I desire to see him. Dharmikam. He is the upholder of dharma. At that stage, the king says, I have nothing more I can say. I know it is morning already. Please send. And the attendants of the king have already come waking up. Meanwhile, out there in the palace, Vasishta has gathered. He started early. The auspicious time is about to kind of come. They made all the arrangements. And the king's charioteer, Sumantra, has come. And he comes and he asks, and he goes obviously first to the king's room. And they tell him the king is with Kaikeyi. So when he comes there, he cannot see it properly because the room is dark. He only sees Kaikeyi. Kaikeyi says, Sumantra, go call Rama. Tell him the king wants to speak to him. And Sumantra says, with all due respect, I can only listen to the instructions or the orders of the king. So please don't mind, but I need the king to tell me. And she looks at that king, come on, speak. And the king is barely in a state of, he's lost his sense of control. He just says, Rama or something. And Sumantra is a bit disturbed because he can feel that something is not right. Usually the king would be up quite early. And he can sense through the mood in the room that something is not right. But obviously he has to do what he has to do. He now leaves Kaikeyi's chamber. He is walking towards Rama's chamber to call Rama for the third time now. He already called him once, then Dasharatha wanted to speak to him again. He was called twice in a span of 8 to 10 hours. For the third time, as he is walking by, you can already see people have already started to assemble. People are decorating their houses. There's a cheer. They can see Sumantra going, and he can sense it. So it's almost a confluence of different emotions, right? On one hand, he can see some tension brewing in. People are overjoyed. Sumantra's mind is at unrest in a sense, and he enters Rama's chamber, calls for Rama. Now what happens there, what Rama does, we will see next class. Okay, cool. We just close with, just bring back those slides maybe to say the final verses on a couple of verses we will say, and then we'll close.
Can I just take a few notes?
You wanted to say?
Yeah, just a few notes that I've been taking. One is, the hunchback when Kaikeyi says, you are the best hunchback. Huh? Oh, sorry. So when Kaikeyi says, you're the best hunchback, she also says, if Bharata is become king, I will decorate your hunch with jewels and all that. So you'll look even better on the hunch. The hunch will look even better on you. That's something, And how many of us think Kaikeyi did the right thing, wrong thing? Did she do right? That's the thing. So, this is what we've been reading and listening, and one of the places where I heard this is, Kaikeyi chose 14 years because a person, if he's banished from the kingdom for 14 years, he can never be king again. And that's the reason why she chose 14 years. But then when she's telling it to Dasharatha, we later on in the story will realize that Kaikeyi saying this was also a slip of the tongue. So God's made her do this. So that there's a bigger purpose behind this. So we will come to that. And they make her say 9 and 5. Instead of 14, she'll just 9 and 5. So that it's technically not 14, but it's 14. So, that way. And the third thing is on the time frame. So she says Ram has to leave by tonight. Otherwise, I will not have water. So she puts a very strong message saying, if he doesn't leave, I will not even have water. And that later on we'll see in the story how that works on Ram's emotions as well. Yeah? So,
thank you. Let's say these 2 verses and then we'll say the closing prayers. Okay? So you can repeat after me. Tapasvadhyaya niratam.
Tapasvadhyaya niratam.
Tapasvi vagvidamvaram.
Tapasvi vagvidamvaram.
Naradam paripapracha.
Naradam paripapracha.
Valmikir munipungavam.
Valmiki Ramayana.
Manishada pratishtham tvam.
Manishada pratishtham tvam.
Agama.
Agama.
Shashwati samaha.
Shashwati samaha.
Yakram cha.
Yakram cha.
Mithunadekam.
Mithunadekam.
Avadhi.
Avadhi.
Kamamohitam.
Kamamohitam.
This is the last one. I don't know if you got Purnamata in here. Just say Purnamata, I don't have it here. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. Close the video.
Yeah, this is true.